Here is why INFJs push people away, even when they love them. Number 1, they feel too deeply, too fast. When an INFJ meets someone who stirs something in them, a spark of resonance, a shared silence, a moment of emotional clarity, it doesn't take long before they're diving headfirst into the depths. Not cautiously, not gradually, but all at once, like they've been waiting for this connection their whole life. What feels like a pleasant conversation to you may already be echoing through their soul like a chapter in a novel. Your offhand comment about your childhood, they're still thinking about it 3 days later. The way you looked when you were talking about your dreams, they noticed. They felt it, not just emotionally, but almost physically. And this emotional intensity is not just a performance. It's not dramatics, it's wiring. INFJs don't develop feelings, they absorb them. They merge. They connect from the inside out. But that depth comes with a cost, vulnerability. Because to feel that touch, that fast, is to risk heartbreak on a level most people never touch. The INFJ isn't afraid of love, they're afraid of being consumed by it. Of giving everything too soon and realizing they were alone in the intensity. So, sometimes they'll do the emotional equivalent of slamming the brakes at 70 miles per hour. You'll be mid-connection, laughing, opening up, sharing something real, and suddenly they're distant, quiet, withdrawn. You'll wonder if you said something wrong, but chances are they're just overwhelmed. They feel everything. Your feelings, their feelings, the potential, the what-ifs, the imagined endings, all at once. And it short-circuits them. What they need isn't distance from you. It's distance from the fire they're trying not to fall into. They need to breathe, to feel safe, to recalibrate the intensity before it swallows them whole. Loving like that is both beautiful and terrifying. And for INFJs, it's the only way they know how. Number 2, they sense imbalance you haven't noticed yet. INFJs don't always need time to figure someone out. Often they just know. Before the conversation is over, before the dynamic is obvious, before the red flags wave. They read between silences. They feel the temperature of a room without a thermometer. And when something is off in a relationship, even if everything looks fine on the surface, the INFJ picks up on it like a bat hearing echoes. Subtle shifts in tone, delays in replies, the way someone talks at them instead of with them. They don't just hear your words, they track the emotional logic underneath them. So, when they start pulling away, it might not be because you've done anything wrong. It's because they've noticed a tiny crack in the foundation, one they fear might widen into a canyon. Maybe you've stopped opening up. Maybe you're only present when it's convenient. Maybe they feel they're holding more space for you than you do for them. It could be the smallest thing, a shrug that felt dismissive, a joke that didn't land, a forgotten detail that mattered to them. They'll never lash out. They probably won't even bring it up. Instead, they'll internalize it and step back, not to punish, but to protect. INFJs are givers by nature, but only to a point. Once they feel the exchange becoming one-sided, once it starts costing more than it feeds them, they'll begin to disappear, gracefully, quietly, almost politely. You might not even realize they've left until one day you look around and realize they're no longer emotionally present. And what's hardest? They probably still love you, but they've already predicted how the imbalance ends. And they'd rather leave with the good memories intact than stay and rot in the slow erosion of being unseen. Number 3, they're afraid of being a burden. INFJs are the ones who listen at 3 a.m., who remember your favorite comfort food, who feel your emotions before you name them. They carry others like it's instinct, like it's their job to hold space for every ache and flicker of pain that passes through someone they love. But when it's their turn to fall apart, to break down, to say, "I'm not okay," that instinct turns into silence. They don't want to be too much. They don't want to add weight to your shoulders. And somewhere deep down, often rooted in childhood or old emotional wounds, is a quiet belief that their pain is inconvenient, that needing someone equals burdening them. So they'll smile, they'll say, "It's fine." They'll deflect with gentle humor or thoughtful questions, turning the spotlight away from themselves before you even notice they dimmed. They will sit in a burning room emotionally and offer you tea. And the tragedy is, it's not because they don't trust you. It's because they love you so much they would rather crumble alone than risk making your life harder, even slightly. This fear of burdening others can become a self-imposed exile. They disappear when they're hurting most, push you away with kindness, ghost you with grace. And all the while, what they secretly hope is that someone will knock anyway, that someone will say, "You're not too much. I can carry some of this with you." But they'll never ask for that because they'd rather suffer in silence than feel like a weight. Number 4, they need space to process everything. INFJs aren't slow thinkers, they're deep ones. When something happens, a conversation, a look, an emotional shift, they don't retract, they absorb. Every word, every pause, every layer of unspoken meaning. And then they disappear. Not out of coldness, not because they're done with you, but because their inner world is loud and they need time to sort through it like a dream they haven't quite woken up from. They'll sit with that one sentence you said 2 days ago, rewind the moment, reimagine how it felt, wonder what it meant. Not obsessively, but comprehensively. INFJs process with their whole soul, like emotional historians taking notes in the margins of life. But to do that, they need silence, solitude, space, sometimes a few hours, sometimes days. And here's where the misunderstanding begins. To the INFJ, disappearing is sacred. It's where healing happens, where they untangle the knots inside them before they turn into walls between you. To others, though, it can feel like abandonment. But here's the truth. If an INFJ pulls away after something meaningful, it's not them giving up. It's them digging in, quietly, carefully, trying to understand what just happened, what it stirred, and how to come back to you with clarity instead of confusion. They're not avoiding you. They're making sure that when they return, they come back whole. Number 5. They fear rejection that hasn't happened yet. INFJs don't wait for the goodbye. They pre-feel it. Even in moments of connection, even when things seem to be going well, there's often a quiet voice in the back of their mind whispering, "This won't last." Not because they're pessimistic, because they're intuitive. And when you combine deep empathy with future-oriented pattern recognition, you get someone who can spot the possibility of heartbreak from miles away. So they brace for it. They build exit routes, emotional fire escapes. Sometimes they leave first. They'll start replying less. They'll turn inward. They'll become vague, polite, distant. Not because you've done something wrong, not because they've seen something, or think they have. Maybe it was a shift in your tone, a flicker of doubt in your eyes, a small withdrawal that felt like a warning. It might have meant nothing to you, but to an INFJ, those little cues feel like foreshadowing in a novel they've already read in their head. They're not just scared of being left. They're scared of loving deeply and seeing the slow fade coming, helpless to stop it. So, instead, they get ahead of the heartbreak, pulling away before it can fully begin. The tragedy? Sometimes the heartbreak was never real. Sometimes it was just a shadow of fear they mistook for truth. But by the time they realize that, they've already walked away from something beautiful, quietly, silently, with love still in their chest. These videos will be really helpful for you.